the allegations against Pete Hegseth are stacking up, and apparently a lot of Republicans are wondering if he's actually worth the effort. We could sort of understand why Donald Trump might want him in the position. Donald Trump watches Fox News and just picks the people that he sees on TV to hold all these positions. But if you're a regular Republican senator, why go to all this trouble to get a guy who's not remotely qualified for the position in it in the first place? So we'll talk about how likely it is to happen. I want to turn now to some of the warring that's going on in right-wing media over the Hegseth nomination, because, well, that Fox is going to be defensive of him. He's a Fox guy. Newsmax, though, not nearly as interested in this nomination, as you'll see.
Pete Hegseth. Pete, life is long. And Pete Hegseth is a talented guy with a lot to offer. But this Secretary of Defense thing is not going to happen. It just can't. Not after what we're learning about. And yeah, I understand that, this is a tough thing to say. There is time for Pete to make a big, valuable contribution to this country. Life is long, but now is not the time. I'm sorry, the stakes are way too high. Now, Donald Trump likes Pete Hegseth, respects Pete Hegseth, and that's amazing. But there are things about Pete Hegseth that he has got to deal with.
So I guess I have to give credit to Greg Kelly for, just being honest. First of all, you don't expect to see that when you turn on Newsmax, but also to come out against Pete Hegseth in this way is potentially risky. Even if Hegseth steps down, having gone against one of Trump's nominees when Trump is still ostensibly behind him is risky. If he doesn't step down and if he gets the position, then that's gonna hurt for Greg Kelly, but he is right. I mean, he's not right about all of this. I don't understand what it is about Pete Hegseth that he finds to be so impressive and that he almost certainly will contribute something. He's a guy who yaps apparently half tanked on Fox and Friends on the weekend. That's about it. I don't know what's so impressive about him beyond that, but he is at least willing to stand against him at this point. Others are saying that the actual process of getting him in the position is going to be difficult. Let's turn now to that.
Some of these articles are very disturbing. He, obviously has a chance to defend himself here, but some of this stuff is going to be difficult. Time will tell. I like Pete. I've known him for a very, very long time.
So they can only really afford to have a few senators who turn against him. So Lindsey Graham there seems less personally opposed to Hegseth getting the position and more resigned to the fact that it doesn't necessarily look like the math is there. And so Sharon, what do you think? Is maybe Trump leans on them? He tried to do that with Gates, of course, and it didn't work for Gates. Maybe it works here. What do you think?
These guys are so phony, okay? And they're not really the best judge of character since they are still following their leader. I think that some of this is, Lindsey Graham is the fakest of all. I cannot. He's sitting there pretending like he's just weighing this. This is so hard on him. It's heavy on his heart. And it's bull, okay? I think that Pete will be told to move aside and they'll find something else for him that he can perhaps show up half the time and get sauced as much as he wants to. But it's not going to happen. And Donald Trump wants to look like he's the big man on campus and he's orchestrating these things. And it's all going to just some kind of goofy word salad. This is a nightmare.
Yeah, and you have to, the math that I imagine they're doing is, okay, we are senators. We want to at least pretend that we have power, spines, that we're men. We make decisions, not just Trump. But they can't do that, for all these nominees or whatever. The vast majority of whom are not qualified for the position. So which ones do they oppose? Now they sort of got Matt Gaetz out before having to do the hearings, so they saved themselves a little bit of trouble there. Maybe they can do the same with Pete Hegseth. We've been reading reports that a lot of them are not necessarily buying Tulsi Gabbard for this position for a variety of very obvious reasons. But we'll see. At least as of right now, Hegseth isn't stepping down. He tweeted, "I'm doing this for the war fighters, not the warmongers. The left is afraid of disruptors and change agents. They're afraid of real Donald Trump, who I previously referred to as an armchair tough guy." He didn't add that part, but that's necessary context. So they smear with fake anonymous sources and BS stories. They don't want truth. Yeah, it's all fake. It's all fake. It's all been made up. The entire life that you've led, the choices you've made, the way you've treated people, the way you've abused substances, the stuff you've advocated for, how you made a name for yourself, the groups you've called for the death of, it's all fake. Everybody's so unfair to you, tough guy. You just go through your life and everybody's just always bullying you. That's a sad way to imply that your life has gone. Unfortunately for you, your actual life has been far sadder because it's not fake. This is who you are. This is who you are. And I'm doing this for the war fighters, not the warmongers. Shut the F up. You're a warmonger. He's been calling for a war with Iran for years at this point. How many war fighters would die if you got your war? You think Pete Hegseth is gonna be in a Black Hawk storming Tehran or anything? No, he's gonna be, worst case scenario for him, I guess, in the Pentagon, or otherwise, maybe he'd be broadcasting from a couch from New York City, sitting next to Pete Ducey as our soldiers are killed. And God knows how many other people. Iran has an actual military. They potentially have weapons of mass destruction, and he is calling for other people to die so he can get the war that he's so excited for. They're afraid of disruptors and change agents. No, we're concerned about an incredibly important position being held by a deranged agent of chaos who doesn't have the knowledge, like the innate actual smarts to do the job, even the smarts to know that you need to learn, that you should train, that you should surround yourself with people who know how to do the job. Instead, you think that being a pundit is enough. And the sad thing for America is that Donald Trump seems to agree with that, because his cabinet is apparently going to be stocked entirely by a handful of billionaires and people who yapped at him from his TV as he sat on the toilet. All of this is sad. And Pete Hegseth doesn't even need to be a part of this. Just go do your job. Go start a goddamn podcast. I'm sure there'll be a ton of right-wingers willing to transfer their money over to you so you can advocate for the death of all Muslims or whatever. Sharon, we are in the early days of these 4 years, and it's already just, it's wearing. But any other thoughts about this?
You made a compelling case there that went on and on and on. It's just a disaster, as we know. It's a disaster. It needed to be said. I was good with, your mom said you drink too much and you're doing a bunch of women, not named your wife. That was good enough for me. It's time for him to have a seat, perhaps on a therapist's couch, and do you, boo? Just you this time.
We'll see. He seems like the exact sort of guy that would never, ever go to the therapy that might actually provide him some peace or stability. But members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.